you make this?
Feeling good, got some weed up in my wood, chasing dreams just like I should, letting go because I could.
All right, welcome back to another episode of JK Philly. Today we got Raptors, dropouts in disguise. How you doing, man?
I'm doing all right, man. I'm happy you asked me to join, and it's a real honor to be a part of this.
For sure. Yeah, we like we were saying a little bit beforehand, you basically had like a similar idea where you were trying to reach out to a bunch of guys and get it done, and you asked me, and I think I was like one of your first people to do it. So definitely appreciate you returning the favor and doing it for us. Now it's just going back and forth, but yeah, we can just jump right into it. Just for the audience, just give a little bit of background of who you are, what your channel is, and how you got into doing YouTube stuff.
As I'm from Canada, so as a Canadian, you don't get much coverage about basketball. Like, no one really talks about the Raptors unless we're doing good. So especially like this season, nobody was really talking about us. So I wanted to try to just say my opinion, since a lot of I consider myself like a pretty diehard fan, and a lot of my friends aren't to the same.
Right.
So I don't really have a lot of people to talk about and voice my opinion. So I was like, well, I might put up a camera and talk to it. I've kind of stopped a little now. It's kind of hard when your team's ass.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I've been not the most consistent, but it's been a journey.
For sure, yeah, definitely. Like we stated, we kind of came up the same way of just like talking about it all the time, and obviously the Sixers are a lot bigger market than the Raptors, but just having that same type of like, what, I want to talk about my team and just give my opinion. So like, why not go do it and just get on the camera and just start talking about it? With you guys, I just wanted to start off from the beginning, drafting some nice rookies in the beginning, like Jacoby Walter, I believe his name's Mogbo, and Jamal Shed as well. Tell me how your rookies this year, because you got a lot of young guys on your team, how they really look this year and perform considering like so many injuries that happened.
Yeah, so I'll start off with Jamal Shed because I think I made a whole video just about Jamal Shed.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know a lot about him coming to the draft, and we got him we got the pick in a trade with Sacramento.
Yeah.
And I didn't really know what to expect because he's a small guard, but he's a really defensive minded, and I really like what he does. Like, there's been some plays where he'll just pick up people like 94 feet, and it was fun watching him and Davion Mitchell beside each other because it was like almost impossible to score on, even though they're both 6 foot. But yeah, he was one of my favorite players on this team this season, obviously minus like Scotty and everyone. But as like a rookie player, I hope he does make all rookie team. I don't think he will. If those are all rookie third team, I think he would make it. But I think he'll get some votes. And I think he has one of the most off the bench points this season, like top 5. So it was nice to see that. Jacoby Walter was injured to start the season, so he had a little bit of a slow start. I did like the pick at the moment, and I still do. It's just we have a lot of people similar to him, like Grady Dick, RJ Barrett now, playing similarly. I just wonder how he fits into the future. Jonathan Mobile, at the time, I wanted us to pick Kyle Filipowski. Because Mobile is like a 6'6" center when he got drafted, and then we just moved him to the power forward. 6'7". He's a small center, so at the time, like, I wasn't really familiar with him when we got drafted. So the only thing I heard about is that it was a dumb pick, and he's not going to be able to play center and all this. But he's a really high motor player, high energy. He can't really shoot that great yet, but I'm hoping he's part of the future long term. And he's been a real bright spot. All 3 really have. And Jamison Battle, which we got, I think he was undrafted. And he's just a good 3-point shooter. That's really it. But going into the All-Star break, he didn't play enough, but he was shooting at like 50% from the 3. He was fun to watch, even though he kind of a liability on defense. But the 3-point shooting was exactly what we needed.
Yeah, for sure. I like to say in some of my episodes that obviously I do fantasy basketball as well. Towards the end of the season, where it's kind of just like, it doesn't really matter. The places are kind of set for playoffs for fantasy. Jamal Shed was a person that I got, so it made me start watching him a little bit more. And even as a rookie, like, his innate reaction when he plays is just like, I'm going to attack the rim if I don't have an open shot, and I'm either going to, like, I'm going to get that layup or I'm going to dish it. And he was like, he really looked good, and like he wants to get his teammates involved. So in at least that assist category, he was always, producing while, a lot of the big guys were out for a little bit of time. But yeah, definitely, I definitely like the young core. It's a lot of people that you didn't really hear too much about because there's a lot of other guys like, you said Kyle Filipowski. We were talking about him with the Utah Jazz the other day and how much he's been progressing because of how much or how injured the Utah Jazz have been recently. But of course, you guys as well have dealt with subtle injuries this year, like Barrett and Grady Dick and even some Scotty Barnes. But then you go on for your biggest move this year to get a guy in Brandon Ingram who's basically been hurt the entire season with the Pelicans. Do you view this trade, and your guys are young, so it's not really a concern, and Brandon Ingram to a degree is also young, but do you think this is a good pickup in terms of a guy like Brandon Ingram who is looking like he's turning into like an injury prone player to put aside with your other stars on the Raptors?
At the time, I was thinking that last time we traded for an injury-prone player, we did pretty well. So obviously, it's not to the same degree, but I don't really find concerns with him being injured, just how he fits with the team, more or less. Mm-hmm. The Raptors, I feel, we stayed in the games this season, but we just stopped playing in the fourth quarter. Mm-hmm. And then I feel like if we actually can perform, I feel like we can afford him to sit a couple games because I don't think our goals next season were to be like a top 3 seed.
Yeah.
But I mean, if that happens, it happens. But with his injuries this season, I think he probably could have came back, but I think the Raptors just wanted him to be completely healthy next season. Mm-hmm. So to circle back, like the only problem I really have is like how he fits with the team with like everyone playing very similarly. Like RJ Barrett and him play almost identically.
Yeah.
And then you have Emmanuel Quickley and Scotty Barnes, all 4 on the court at the same time is going to be a little awkward at the start, but I feel like it will be okay.
So that's a good point because I never even thought about that. It's a lot of, big guys or a lot of, physically tall guys that are going to be on that roster. So you're probably going to have a big lineup, minus Emmanuel Quickley if he's the one that's going to start in your point guard position. But what is your ideal like lineup then of like first 5 plus even the bench that you could, like a 6-man, 7th man that you could say, because that's a lot of guys that you got to juggle on the same team.
Brandon Ingram, Scotty Barnes, and Jakob Poeltl have to be on like the starting lineup if everyone's healthy. Mm-hmm. The problem is Masai likes this type of team like back in like 2022 when we had OG, Scotty, Pascal. The main idea was to switch everything defense, and I think he's trying to do that again.
Yeah.
I think we played against you with that team, and then we lost. Yeah, so I think he's trying to go with something similar, same formula, just different players.
Okay.
For me personally, I think for the best success of the team would to have Emmanuel Quickley come off the bench because that's what he's most known for, like in New York. Even though he's getting paid a lot more when he was in New York, he was just more comfortable then, and he's not really a good. He's gotten a lot better. Don't get me wrong, but he's not a great flow general.
Okay.
He'll get like 5 assists, but it's not really what you want from your point guard. Mm-hmm. And with him, he would need to be the point guard, but then you also have Scotty Barnes and Brandon Ingram on the court who need the ball to be effective. Mm-hmm. So how I would personally, I'm obviously not Darko. I'm not going to try and pronounce his name. He's been on my coach for like 2 years, and I still don't know how to say his last name. Mm-hmm. But Darko, obviously I trust Darko. He's been really good this season. But if it was me, I would go Scotty Barnes at point guard because he did that a lot during his rookie season and this season. Like he just not being the point guard, but just playing like the point guard.
Yeah.
So I'd have him as the point guard, and then I gotta say Grady because he had such a good start to the season, and I would want it to continue. Mm-hmm. RJ and Brandon Ingram, and then Jakob Poeltl.
Yeah.
And then Emmanuel Quickley off the bench. And then it really depends who we get in the draft, honestly.
Mm-hmm. That is interesting. Maybe I'm just forgetting, Scotty Barnes playing the point, but, why not at that point? And that's just going to be, such a tall lineup. I don't think anybody in that lineup is under 6'6", 6'7", maybe. I don't know how
Yeah,
tall
yeah.
Grady Dick is, but I know, yeah, they're all tall
He's be
guys.
6'6", yeah,
Yeah,
6'6".
yeah, so they can definitely perform and definitely make some noise. But that is what I kind of want to jump into, sort of towards my last question for you. You mentioned the draft. Depending on where you get in the draft, what specific spot that you're going to land at, who do you really think is going to be beneficial for your team that's coming out of the draft? And then, after that, is there anybody that you think free agent wise or good trade wise that's like on an expiring contract that could be beneficial for you guys? But just like overall draft and within the NBA, what do you think you guys can do to like be one of those top teams in the East?
So to start off, I think definitely for the draft, I've been wanting it since like before the Mount Madness tournament, but definitely the Duke center. I
Yeah.
don't March.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, I don't know if I'm saying it right,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I definitely want him. It doesn't matter how we get him, really. I feel like he would be the perfect center because he can run the floor. And Jacopoto is good, but he's just a bit too. He's not 30 yet, but I think he's like 28, 29. And
Okay.
that's a little over the age group we're kind of in right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel if we have a young center beside Scotty Barnes and beside everyone, so once when we get the ball, we can just push it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that would definitely be the best situation.
Mm-hmm.
I see a lot of people mocking VJ
Okay.
Edscombe
Yeah, yeah.
to the Raptors, which I don't really understand. He kind of just is like every other player we have right now, like Grady and Jacoby.
Right.
That would be 3 shooting guards we drafted in the last 3 years. It doesn't really make the most sense.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not completely understanding of this draft yet. I haven't done all my research yet, but also Derek Queen also.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where we play. I can't think of the university, but he would also be a good player. He's not as good as on defense as Duke center, but I feel like he would also be a good slot. I feel like center would definitely be the spot we would want to work on.
Okay.
And if we don't get those in the draft, I don't know.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
like I said, I don't know enough, but I know those two would definitely be my 1 and 2.
Okay.
And then for free agency and trading, I can't really think of anyone who, like, I can't think of the free agency class.
Mm-hmm.
I would definitely want Kelly Olynyk back if he is a free agent, even though we traded him for Brandon Ingram. I would love him to come back because he just fits so well. It's a different feel, like it's complete opposite with him and Jacopoto when they were on. We just play two different styles of ball just because we can. There's no center in the paint clogging it up for Scotty and everyone. And you have to respect Kelly Olynyk's shot.
Mm-hmm.
I hope we don't make like a big blockbuster trade because I like the team we have and I want to actually see how it is because we were injured a lot last season.
Yeah.
I would want to see how the team all works together before we go make a trade. Like right now, I think we're like second or third or fourth in the betting race for LaMelo Ball, and like I don't get that, and I don't want to see something like that happen.
Mm-hmm.
Which it doesn't really mean anything at the end of the day. It's just betting. But yeah, I hope we just do small trades. Like we need a backup center. That's the number one thing we need. We tried Orlando Robertson. He was pretty good. I think he took a game-winning shot for us, and I think he missed it. But we definitely need a better backup center than him. He could be like a third string at the best.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe like a 3-and-D wing, maybe. But like I said, I don't know the free agency class.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's all good. Like I say for every episode, I'm not really that knowledgeable. Like my co-host Kev, he knows all college basketball. He knows, 1 to 50 of like top people that are supposed to be coming in. So I definitely, refer to him when we're looking at stuff like that. But yeah, no, that sounds great. At the same time, with a little bit of tweaking, of course, your team staying healthy, that's one of the biggest things. I think that your team will definitely be able to at least stay out of like playing contention because of just like the pure size on your team and talent around them. But that's really most of the questions that I have. I didn't really have too much else. If you want to shout out any of your, your channels or anything that you got going on, I know you say you're taking a little bit of a break, but this is the time now to, shout your stuff out.
Yeah, so on my YouTube channel, Dropouts in Disguise, I've been, like you said, and like I said earlier, I'm kind of taking a break. The last series I was doing was like a 2K series, because that's what I originally, back like a year ago, that's what I started making. I started making 2K content. So I brought that back, and I was doing like a My League series. So if anyone's interested in that, definitely something different. I definitely want to continue my series that like similar to what you're doing.
Yeah, no, 100%. Definitely appreciate your time. I hope you do eventually jump back on that series, because I would like to see, we're obviously not interviewing the same people, so you can get a different perspective from a whole different fan and, see how that goes. But make sure you guys leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and subscribe to my guy right here. All right, talk to you guys. Thank you guys for watching another episode of JK Philly. Make sure you stay tuned by subscribing to the channel.